Hey everybody, Ryan here from Android Coliseum. We're doing a review here on the Google Pixel 2. Now this is the XL version, but a lot of what I can say about this can be said about the the non-XL version, minus some of the discussion we can have about the screen, but again, I'll get to that in a bit here. First up, I just want to let you know, it's been a long time since I've been on anything that's sort of a pure Google. I haven't used a Nexus since the 4. But I was, using the Galaxy Nexus, had the Nexus 4, and then I wrote and ROMmed a bunch of stuff afterwards to try to get that feel back. Never was quite the same. But then I ended up liking LG stuff for the past while, so I've really kind of enjoyed some of the extra features that sometimes that you didn't quite get with the Nexus lines. But for some reason, the new Pixel 2 line just had me intrigued. So let's get into it and talk about what it is that we like. There is no headphone jack. Oh no! Quel dommage. People, get over it. There's no headphones. I mean, to be honest with you, I really, unless you're needing something to listen to for hours and hours and hours and hours at a time, like most headphones, Bluetooth headphones are like 6 hours. No problem. So anyways, there's no headphone jack. Big whoopee. It does have these nice 2 big speakers here for you, and they're actually not too bad, I gotta admit. Now, the XL, I prefer the XL because it has the bigger screen. I like a little bit bigger screen. And it also is the sort of 2:1 ratio, so it's like near bezel-less. Whereas I find with the 16:9 ratios of the other ones, I find a little bit, it feels even smaller than it is. So for me, I had to go this. Although it does stretch how much I think I probably would want to hold in my hand. This is probably at the limit. I probably would not go very much more than this. One thing I was really kind of interesting to see is I wasn't really quite prepared for that much of a bend in the glass that we have there. Like it's almost to the point where it's almost like an edge, like the Galaxy Edge devices. Not quite, because you can see the screen doesn't go over that bend, but it does have that almost that feel that that's how it would work. So that's kind of a really cool feature, I thought. And I'm just this is sort of going to be out of order for what I'm thinking, but I'm just kind of going by my notes, what I had here. My big problem, I'm not a big fan, is that ring is the same sound as your notifications. So if I want my ring volume up loud, but I want the notifications to be super quiet, I can't. They're the same. And unfortunately, the steps between the ring volume levels are so big versus the media volume, which these are tiny little jumps. That's pretty cool, and that's really nice that I can get it right down. So that's one thing. Yeah, why not have them separate? I just prefer to have notification sounds separate than my ring. All right, so the other thing that was new about this one, very similar to the HTC U, is the squeeze. Now, I always saw people using the squeeze like this. I find I couldn't really squeeze. You can't really... Of course, can't do that there. Can't squeeze it by that part. The squeeze really is down below. So it's right about here where you really need to squeeze. That's and it's one of the, again, I was kind of thinking, well, it's not a feature I'll ever use. But I actually find myself using it now again. The problem is being that if I want to use it, and I go, what's the population of Toronto? I have to get my passcode in to get the answer.
The population of Toronto was 2.809 million in 2014.
Good for you, Toronto. Anyways, so there's that squeeze, and that's actually kind of useful. And I was, sitting there doing work with my kid, and he would want to say, "Well, how do you spell Mesopotamia?" I was like, "All right, so spell Mesopotamia."
Mesopotamia is spelled Mesopotamia.
Slower.
According to Wikipedia,
I thought it did slower. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that was kind of cool, just to be able to use it. Again, I would have my phone in hand and I could just do it versus hold that or whatever. One thing I didn't like was that you couldn't go from your camera, and I'll get to the camera in a second, I couldn't go from my camera into my pictures. I'm used to swiping into my pictures. Well, that's too bad. So, that's the other thing actually while I'm here is I assume that as soon as I click that, it started videoing. LG's, as soon as you tap the thing, it starts that action is either start video camera or start video. and it didn't, so I missed one good section of my kid's football game. Okay, the other thing I kind of noticed, obviously it's USB-C, you plug it in. I didn't take out the wall wart out of the box, and so I've been using my personal wall wart, which is Quick Charge 3 or Quick Charge 2, depending on where I am in the house. And Quick Charge, those don't work with this. You have to use, otherwise it's going to get standard charging, and it's actually pretty slow charging if you're not using their special wall wart. So I'm kind of annoyed at that feature. Same with the Pixel. We'll talk about the Pixel in another video, or Pixel book. All right. One thing I did kind of enjoy, so as you're going to start using this device and start trying to find features in it, getting into the settings is right there. Before you'd get your little settings, and I have to drag down again to get my settings. This guy, we just use that, and you go into it. So then I can just search for a setting like I want to find out fingerprint. Hit search, tap that one, and it'll bring you straight to it, and it actually usually blinks the feature you want. I kind of found that very handy, especially for somebody who's never used this before. Will find that very handy. This is an eSIM model, but I'm not sure which carriers use eSIM yet in Canada, so just use my nano SIM. But there is no more SD card. Oh well, such is life. I'll figure it out. I'll get a little adapter so I can bring my USB sticks on it with me or something, so I can, plug a USB stick in or a hard drive. Sometimes with the some apps will do like Pokemon Go that are not full screen. I always have an issue. They just leave a black bar. They just kind of move it. So I think they're kind of doing it a little better than other 18:9 ratio ones. Where my LG G6, this would be full screen. It's going to be a little error down there or whatever. Especially once the game starts, this would be a full screen game. This one just kind of blocks off that area there. So, I mean, just kind of handles it a little better. The song recognition feature, I can't remember what they call that. Song, what do they call it? Now playing, here we go. The now playing feature. This works awesome, and to the point my wife is now expecting it to come up with answers. We were at a couple restaurants, and it picked up every song. I was at a bagpipe performance the other day, and it picked up the bagpipers, and it even said, wrongly, Sons of Scotland Pipe Band, Scotland the Brave, and I'm like, that's not really it, but at least it kind of recognized that there was bagpipes, so that was kind of cool. And it's one of those things you think, well, I'm not going to use that, but then you start using it, and you start looking for it all the time. What is it? What is this song? It isn't fast, so don't expect it to work as quickly as SoundHound, like when you tap it. So it's got to do its own thing, and I'll have a full write-up on the site about what it's actually doing. So what else here? Did you know that they had a secret menu button? Right, so if you're in an app, I love InspireBot. Is it working here? No, it's not working here. Some apps will have that feature. Bring up my Feedly. That's not working there either. Anyways, if you tap it there, that's a menu. Apparently they're going to fix that. That's an issue, but they're fixing it apparently. I like this. It's kind of secret. What else we got to talk about? Battery has been awesome, I think. Really good for me. 18 hours left. I've been on for almost 4 hours since last charge. So yeah, I've been getting about 18 on average hours. I find it very rare that I'll come to the end of the workday that's about 70% left. So it's lasting a long time for me. I just wish it worked with Quick Charge 3.0. Not really an issue because I never really get it to areas like 50% or not. But otherwise, it's been pretty good. I can't complain. So let's address these issues about display. I don't know about you guys. This looks pretty good to me. People are going to complain about burn-in or something like that. Again, it's going to be kind of very hard to try to show. Maybe you could make a case. There's a little bit of a burn in there. But I'm looking at it right away. It used to be with like the Galaxy Nexus, when those old OLED displays. those could have an issue. But it was one of those things, like, they kind of went away after a while. So it could be that it's just fresh in mind or whatever. So I don't know. I never notice it. Again, it's one of those things you kind of have to really notice it. People talk about there being a lot of blubbery colors, especially on black. So if I went to a website where there's a big block of black or something, you know, they look a little wobbly. I don't notice it. That's not mine. How is it is it kind of grayish in color? Is it, you know, people saying, okay, well, let's bring up that picture again, and does that look kind of terrible? You know, does it look splotchy? Oh, wait, we have to go and check the display down. I don't know. I mean, I think it's working just fine for me, and I can be pretty picky. I'm more picky that within the 2 weeks I got a tiny little nick out of the corner of the glass there, just a tiny little scratch, than I am that I'm like, oh, I think there might be screening burning. Who cares? Guys are just whining about tiny little piddly little things. Can you see any burn in there? Can you see any burn in there? I don't see any burn in there. You know, so I don't know what people are complaining about. You should just love this phone. I'm not making you love the phone, but I think you should just love it for what it is, not for what you think you might be able to find as an error. Let's talk about the camera first off. The camera, pretty generic. It's got its funky HDR enhanced. I leave it on just HDR normal. It does a really good shot of pretty good quality. We have our different kind of slow motion settings in there as well. I was blown away by the camera. And let me just see if I can find pictures in here. Don't you guys kind of looking through my photos? Let's see if I can find a sample shot that I could show off. That I was kind of blown by. Just my wife and I can take off that motion. That's kind of cool feature. You can do the motion. There's my wife and I at a football game. And she saw that and went, holy crap, that looks good. Here's an example of where that portrait mode, now I thought it was kind of cool, you know, it gets that bokeh effect. But, so there's the picture without portrait mode. And here's what it does in portrait mode. Oh no, it left that little dude there. That's kind of funny. So, here's the same kind of shot, us in camera, and then it takes it into portrait mode and it gets rid of the background. Sure, some of her hair strands are not taken in. Sure, got rid of some of that stuff there. But again, it's using some machine learning to make it the best shot it can. I thought it was kind of fantastic. Like, some of these shots are just fantastic. I mean, you gotta have the right conditions. Not every shot is a winner. But I was really like, look at that. That's just great reproduction. And people are gonna say, "Well, man, the camera, the quality of the picture," and they're great. I mean, it is great. The screen really kind of shows it off well. I was really enjoying this. All right, now this is getting a really long video. I should probably just do one just on the camera, but I really like this phone. It's expensive, but I mean, if you are looking for a premium device, this is it. I just wish they had put in QI charging. That would have been awesome. Would have been definite buy in my phone. But I mean, do I put it over my G6? I think I do. That camera alone, I think, really makes it that much better. Okay, so that's almost a 50-minute video, guys. Sorry for being so long, but I really, really, really enjoyed this camera and this phone. The responsiveness of it, I talked to people, it's not super zippy. It is zippy, but I kind of feel it feels fluid. Like, it just feels properly zippy, not super fast like you might get with a Samsung or something like that, but properly fast. It's hard to explain, but it feels exactly like a premium phone should, and I think everybody should just appreciate it for what it is. Okay, I'll have a full write-up on the website. You guys tell me what you think, and we can discuss. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much.